Live. I'm with it.
All right, we are back. OG Logic number 9.
We're live.
What's going on, guys? Man, we always like the beginning of every show. We just like catch up, like what's going on, man, and what's going on. What's the newest crazy in the world today? Because there's just too much, man. I can't keep up. What's going on? Anybody know?
I don't, man. What happened to Abu? He's like, anybody know? And then he bounced. Okay, so this is me and Sadiq. We're here coming to you live. Abu thought he was too good. I guess he just.
I don't know.
Right there.
He went nuts. And yeah, there we go. I don't know what happened there, man. I really don't. That thing just. Oh, I know what happened. I moved my little USB hub, and it must have like disconnected, and it just like totally shut me out. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the my mic is crazy right now. I put it right in front of me. Holy smokes. What's the news crazy in the world? I can't keep up. I've been working on my product launch and everything. I got it off the ground. I thought I was gonna miss my deadline, but I did. Yeah,
congratulations.
Thanks, man. I've been getting some crazy good reviews, man. I'm not surprised, but it's just like that it's been this much back-to-back love. I'm quite pleased.
What's up, man?
What was that?
The feedback I've been getting, the reviews I've been getting have been like absolutely glowing. So I'm quite pleased with the outcome there. It's really been running me ragged, like just getting that thing off the ground and like, whatever else we're working on it. I had to really put in like some crazy heavy work to meet my deadline. So
Good.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm happy it's out. I'm absolutely happy too.
I even followed the Gumroad link to kind of see what like your copy and all that stuff. I saw that it was out earlier, and I was like, he did this. Okay, I followed it through, and good for you, man.
I would eventually got it out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm something of a procrastinator. So if I don't have like, if I don't, I'm not something of a procrastinator. I'm a hella procrastinator. So if I don't really like, light the fire under my rear, and like really push myself, then I'm just be like, it's got time.
Well, at least you could admit it. That's good.
Yeah, no, I know my faults, man. I know my shortcomings as a man. And I'm not ashamed of them. I know it leaves me something that I know I have to work on. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm perfectionist. The apex human being of humans and stuff.
Like you don't defecate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
Like remember Kim Jong-il or whatever.
I said this. Yeah, I said this actually, and I mean, I don't mean this in an attack way because they my homies, but I said this to the Tate brothers, I was like, a lot of guys can't relate to you guys because in their eyes, your life is perfect, and that's far from what everybody has. So when you tell guys like online, you haven't made mistakes or something, guys can't relate to that, and so, because the average man is out here like fumbling the ball left and right, and so.
Well, I'll take it one step further than that. Okay. You laugh. It makes me laugh too. I'll take it one step further than that, though. If you make a claim like that, anyone with half a brain is going to know you're full of shit.
Yeah. You really got to be able to, like shine like hardcore and in a special way if you're gonna make those claims.
No one likes perfect anyway. No one likes perfect.
Well, it's not realistic. It's not.
Yeah. And that's like Sadiq said, nobody likes it.
Yeah.
It's actually a repellent.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful not to appear too perfect. Sometimes when you're on a nice, clean run on social media, you have to kind of, even if it's a joke at yourself, just to,
Yeah.
Keep the. I believe in evil eye. I mean, people gonna get on me. People get on me and they say I'm superstitious, but I believe even the Germans, they call it the Bösenblick. They call it the angry eye.
Okay.
The Bösenblick. And I mean, the Germans believe it. And you can't meet a more analytical, anal retentive, like, very dry people like the Germans. And if they believe it, then something's up. And so you got to watch out for the evil eye, man. That stuff's real. I mean,
my grandma had, so the Italian heritage and all that shit. My grandma used to keep those little evil eye amulets, like she had them.
And the Turks love those things.
Yeah, well, the like Europe loves those things, man. Because the Romanians over here, they've got like all the evil eye BS, and I'm just like, oh, come on, and like they talk about it and everything, and then they're like trying to educate me, and I'm like, oh no, I know all about that. Don't worry. Like I may be American, but I grew up listening to that stuff. Yeah.
I was
Don't tell
raised
nobody nothing.
That's it. That's how my mum raised me.
Yeah.
Anything good, any good news, don't tell no one. I used to think, what the? Why can't I tell?
They're right,
don't tell no one.
It's that old school logic. They know they know that wisdom comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like any good news you have, any plans you've got going, any type of anything. It's just like don't say nothing.
Yeah,
don't say your chest.
Somebody's gonna put the eye on it.
Yeah.
So So, I mean, I don't know. Has anything been crazy been going on in the world? What has I heard something about murder hornets? They caught one somewhere, and that's about the craziest thing I heard. Then people still protesting in America. What's going on? Anybody know? What are they doing?
Something that I think is a little crazy is that like really nobody's contesting the fact that aliens exist anymore. And like for people that are our age, like that's just like I actually in my group, you know, we do those in the outfit, we do those weekly Zoom, you know. And I had a member that was arguing the fact that an alien invasion or an alien existence was cover up for bigger news. And I was like, what's more bigger news than life
on another planet, from another planet?
Right. Like I mean, what is bigger than that? You know, oh well, there's human trafficking and the politicians are screwing little kids. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that's good, but man, we've had that forever. We ain't ever had like confirmed aliens. You know, so people are tripping, man. It's that whole you know, like you can take a conspiracy theory too far.
You know, my wife says something here that's very true. Bill Clinton he was spotted on Epstein Island. Who, excuse me, he didn't kill himself. And
is he dead?
Epstein? Yeah.
No. Oh, I was.
No, Epstein committed suicide. He didn't kill himself. But yeah, apparently Bill got spotted on the island. You know, and TikTok got banned. I don't know if that's big news. Is that big news? TikTok getting banned. Is that the latest crazy in the world? I don't know, man.
That might have the young women tripping.
Apparently, yeah. It's going crazy that TikTok is being banned. I don't know. I mean, I have TikTok on my phone. I guess the Chinese are spying on me and stuff. Hashtag cancel China. I've been saying that for a while. Cancel China. Excuse me.
Oh, they're just turning your phone on.
Let me say it very Trump style.
China.
Yeah.
But apparently that got so we got murder hornets, we got Bill Clinton on Epstein Island, and we got TikTok being banned. And aliens. See, even I almost dismissed it. Seeing aliens,
man. Come on. We have off-world
life.
Yeah, well, no, they're like admitting like they have stuff that they just have no idea what it's made from, where the technology came from, whichever. Like, I mean, did it come from the future? Like, did it come? I mean, man, like that to me is just the trippiest, the biggest deal to me is that like anybody. Think about like everybody like in the past that's like, oh, you know, they had an alien abduction and everything, and everyone was like, oh, this crazy piece of shit, you know, like they talk all bad about him, you know, like he's crazy and he's, you know, all that, and it's like, oh well, I mean, dang, man, you know, maybe dude was onto something there, like maybe he wasn't crazy, maybe he was telling the truth. I don't know. That's just nuts to me.
Hold on, I got something. I have an appropriate clip for this. Let me find it. Oh wait, what's this? What did I get here? No, this is the wrong clip. Oh man, What happened there? Why do I have that screen? I don't know what happened. I lost the proper screen. Oh man. I'm gonna find it though. It's very appropriate for this. Give me a second here. Why did it change? Ah, I see what I did. My bad, guys. This is a good one. This is a good one. I'll get it. I'm an old man, guys. Give me a break here. Okay. I'm working on it. There we go.
Oh, is this whoa, what?
I love this guy. You ever see this?
What is this?
He loses his mind. He sees a UFO, he loses his mind. You got it.
Can you turn up the volume on it? What is that? That's not a UFO, is it? That's a plane or something. Oh no, that's like meteors or something. Oh, I don't know what the hell that is. No, not like that.
I love his reaction.
That's formation.
Yeah. That's straight up formation right there.
Aliens.
Yeah.
I got a few conspiracy theories about all of that.
What is it?
All right.
CPZ. I got a new mic. Yes. Sorry.
I believe a lot of it ties in with Islamic eschatology or Abrahamic faith eschatology. I believe there's going to be a planned alien invasion, or they know that something is coming from the sky. So if you read this to text, Jesus is coming from the sky. He's in Islamic eschatology. He's coming down. He's going to descend. Now, if you watch a lot of the films, they always seem to be afraid of what's coming from the sky, and that's the way that the world will band together as one to fight the common enemy. So you got films like Independence Day. It was unite the world to fight the common enemy. You had Watchmen. You seen Watchmen?
Yeah, Watchmen's a good one.
Dr. Manhattan. He was the alien threat that united the world. So I feel like, I feel like they're going to create a situation where the world is going to be forced to fight the common enemy. Corona could have been a similar, do you know what I mean? It's a similar type of fight. Common enemy, let's fight it. But with Jesus, he's coming from the sky. Now people are going to be terrified of what comes from the sky, and they will fight against it, in my opinion. So
interesting thing.
You know what? My thing with that though is like, look, like I know we have these movies that talk about like Independence Day, right? Like we all band together to fight the alien threat and all that stuff. But you know what? Humans ain't that cool, man. They're not. Like they are so petty, right? That even with that, like they'll just be like, okay, well, really, he supports Trump's initiatives. Maybe we should give these aliens, sanctuary in the United States, and it's really conservatives that don't want anything to do with that. And like it'll still be a battle. Like it'll still be like we won't ever be able to get together. Yeah. And that's like the really sad. Like think about it like this. If we were really able to like get together and band and unite as one, would we even need like different faiths and religions and beliefs and different whatever? I mean, we'd all be one thing.
I think that's what I think they want that, and I think they are trying to create a secular sort of anti-religion society where everything goes. But like you said, I don't think it will ever come to fruition. I think they would like it. I think they would like it, but I don't think, like you said, it will come to fruition. But I think they are making plans to create a system like that. Europe has now become almost just one state or one big, body where, with the euro, America is basically the petrol dollars running the world. I do feel like the world's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the shared ideologies and values are becoming almost, pushed together as one. But there's a fight back, and I don't think ultimately they will be able to achieve that because we're too different. The East and the West, you can't put them together.
Well, the smaller it gets too, like the easier it is for us to choose a side, right? We're not all going to be on the same side. No, you know what I mean? So the smaller it gets with the social media and with the, everybody getting a platform, so to speak, or a soapbox to stand on, right? It makes it easier for there to be dissent. Okay. There's not as much as we'd like to think like everybody's just a herd of sheep that goes with it. No, people are very tribal in their deals, so like, whereas we may think of it, or the enlightened person might think of it like, oh, this is offering us more information to where we can make more informed judgments and right? The average person is looking at it like confirmation bias. You know what I mean? Like they ain't looking to learn. They're just looking to solidify what it is with their own people.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, man. Like I don't ever, like, until God wipes this place out and makes it anew, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see people ever being like a cohesive unit ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair point. Rishi asked a question before we get into our primary and main topic, since we were shooting about what's going on in the world. He said, what do you guys think about the mandatory vaccinations? They're talking about making these vaccinations for the Rona mandatory.
I'll go underground.
I don't think it's gonna fly. People are not gonna go for that, man. People are real. The Rona has been one of the biggest and most controversial like illnesses since I can recall.
Ever.
In terms of controversy, I mean, when it came down to H1N1 and swine flu and bird flu, everybody was kind of like, oh, wow, that's terrible. When it was Ebola, oh, man, oh, gosh, this, that, the other. But now, man, with like the Rona, people are just like, yo, look, this thing's got like a 99% survival rate. Why do I need a vaccination for something with that high of a survival rate? People are not going to go for it. You want to see, especially America, where people got guns. They're just not going to do it. And, and I'm not going to take it. There's no way you're going to force me to just put stuff in my body that, I don't want in there. It's good for you. Okay, well, 99% survival rate. How good can it be for me? My immune system seems to be doing a good enough job. I'm fine. Yeah. So, no, I'm not.
Yeah, but no. America's got guns, right? Mm-hmm. But they still bent over for the coronavirus. They still took that.
Some people did. I mean? Yeah, it's true.
It's like that. No, some, like all of LA County is still locked down. Ain't nobody trying to be like, oh no, we're opening the, we're going out to our job or to our work or nothing.
Yeah, but in California, do you guys have guns there? I mean, I thought in California it's really difficult to get guns. That's what my understanding was.
Grips of people got guns in California. Yeah, my old lady's got a gun, man. Like everybody's got a gun. I'm just saying.
Okay, fair enough.
Everybody's got a gun in California, man. I mean, just because, like, I know that. Okay, here's the thing: is people don't look at both sides of the coin like that. Like they'll say that like the media is like it conflates a bunch of different things, and what you see on the media is exaggeration. But yet when it comes to California about being 100% liberal, they just take that at face value. You know what I mean? Like they'll just be like, oh, they ain't lying about that. No, they're lying about that too. I know a grip of people that don't believe what California is supposed to believe. And I was born and raised in California. So it's like, it's just another, there's plenty of people out there that ain't liking it, but they're still taking it. And it's because nobody wants to take that first hit. Nobody wants to get a record. Nobody wants to get punched first. Nobody wants to get shot first. So they'll just take it.
Because apparently they'll make it hard for you. There'll be travel restrictions, even down to like buying things. Your employment status could be affected. So in worst case scenario, if they do implement a corona vaccine and it comes with conditions, let's say they said if you don't get it, your bank account will be frozen. You will not be allowed to use money.
Yeah.
You will not be allowed to travel. What do we do then?
Well, I mean, man, that comes down to like a personal choice at that point. It's like you got to do what you got to do.
I think this is part of the war against Bitcoin, basically, in cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency and Bitcoin kind of frees you of like those constraints. There's no way you can put those sort of lockdowns on people. You can't control people because they can't control the currency. You see? And so the problem, that's the problem with cryptocurrency with governments. They like say, oh, it's not regulated, it's not this, it's not that. Well, what does it need regulation for if nobody's out here like, tampering with it in the first place? Because we know that when it comes down to Western currencies, these regulatory bodies, what do? They manipulate currency, to their benefit. And if they can't manipulate it well enough, then they'll start entire wars. Like it was shown that Libya basically wanted to come up with some sort of personal gold standard or whatever else, or different currency, and they want to switch to euros for oil. It led to the invasion of Libya. So that would have tanked the dollar. Well, so what did it, I mean, if that worked.
Well, that's what happened to Saddam too.
Yeah,
Saddam was talking about going gold backed instead of US dollar backed, and then they were like, "Oh, you got to go, buddy. Time for you to lose power in your head." Yeah.
So, I think if you can find a place, or find a way of life that is supported off of cryptocurrency, and there are some options. I've seen some guys. I got the guy, what's it like? It's crypto something, on. He's here visiting me. I don't know his Twitter name. It's like real weird, crypto something. Anyway, yeah, you can live off of that stuff. There's cards and whatnot that you can use to pay for stuff. It's a matter of your rent and all that's, that becomes the complicated, aspect of your life. But I mean, there are ways around it. It's just.
So there's a possibility that we might have to live off the grid in worst case scenario.
I mean, how do we get off the grid?
I think that's impossible,
Yeah.
But so. There's ways, but you need financial independence now, because it's like, if you can't produce your own power, and your own income, you can live off grid. I see people do it all the time. They have these off grid houses. They have like solar panels and wind. They got their own water, and they got, their own system of like dealing with waste and whatnot, and they do it perfectly legally. You can do that, but that takes a lot of money. It's not a small amount of money. I mean, you need a lot of money to live that lifestyle. Well, not even to live the lifestyle. Once you live it, it's self-sustaining. But to actually pay for all of that equipment, my man, I don't think it's any accident, that it's expensive. The entry level to that type of lifestyle is expensive. I don't think it's an accident. The technology is very widespread, but it still remains very expensive, despite the fact that it is very widespread and, well known. So I don't think it's an accident. They don't want people who are free and independent. You throw in a guy who can take care of himself and his family and then give him a few guns, next thing you know, he's got a community, and next thing you know, that community is a real problem. So they don't want people, to be able to do that stuff.
Not to mention, they find you anytime they want, no matter what.
Yeah, you can't escape the system. I mean, in that sense, but you can make yourself, kind of independent of like the regular system in that sense.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going to enact some kind of like, okay, we're putting in this worldwide order that everybody's got to follow or something like that, right? Like, if they really want to get you, they'll get you. I mean, like it's just, it is what it is, Now, whether you want to go down swinging or whether you want to go out, with a whisper, it's up to you, But like, there's no privacy. We got too many cameras in the sky, Too many. It's like they'll get you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into our topic, guys. It's been like 24 minutes. We've just been shooting the breeze. Normally, we just catch up right in the beginning and see what's going on in the world. What are acceptable relationship models for a man in the 21st century. Now, we know in the 21st century, we got so many problems. We got feminism, we got no-fault divorce, we got divorce rape, we got this, we got that, we got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And, you know, all sorts of messages out there telling guys, nah, you shouldn't do this. You're a cook if you do that. You're a loser if you do this. Dudes are out here being told 10 different messages from 15 different guys. What is logically, according to an OG, an acceptable relationship or model with women in the 21st century? Would anyone like to take the lead on this? You guys know I can go all day on this, and I promise I wasn't going to rant.
I can go all day on this too, man. This is something I feel very, very strongly about. So
then please lead the path, sir.
Yeah. No. Here's the thing. I think that what has stood the test of time for millennia, right, all of a sudden didn't just change with the advent of social media. Okay. Stuff worked for thousands and thousands of years with the relationships between men and women. And then all of a sudden, Facebook arrived and like it put new people up on game, and like they discovered secrets that had never been told before. Nah, get out of here, man. The stuff that's been working from back in the day is the same stuff that can work today. Now, here's the difference. You have to vet a little bit better. Segueing into Craig's new vetting course that he has, by the way, it's available on Gumroad. You have to absolutely vet with more discrimination, because there is that soapbox element, right? You got all these different ideas and all these different ideologies essentially that are floating around out there that are not favorable to a nuclear family unit, to the traditional family unit, you know, to where it's like, you know, like you were saying, divorce rape, right? To where women do think like, oh, okay, well, I'll marry him, and if he doesn't get down the way I want, then I'll just, you know, dump him or whatever. So I think that there's nothing new under the sun in that sense, but I do think that now more than ever, you really need to make sure about who you are going to be tying yourself to, because they have more options now to screw you than ever as well.
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
Sadiq, good sir, please. Because you know, once I get going, man, I'm like a snowball down a steep hill, you know, a train.
What's acceptable depends on your perception on life. You know, a lot of people have different, you know, so one thing you realize as you get older, that your world is not someone else's world, and the way you think is not how other people think. But growing up in a Nigerian household, Muslim parents, on paper, the only acceptable way or relationship is marriage. Now, as a Muslim and a Nigerian Muslim, monogamy wasn't the standard that I was. It wasn't the only thing presented to me, because both my grandparents have multiple wives. My dad's grandfather had 35 children, 20 of them survived. So wow. I come from a lineage of men with multiple women. However, there was never any suggestion of sleazy behavior. It was all honorable. It was just marriage. So marriage, traditional Islamic marriage, has been the acceptable model for me. However, looking at society, I can see why other people choose to live in slightly different ways. So some people will have like common law marriages where they haven't actually tied a knot on paper. They haven't actually gone to a registry or to a church or to a mosque, but it's a man and a woman living together for a period of time, extended period of time, and they are exclusive to each other. So even though it goes against my religion, in a way, it's almost an acceptable way of life for me. Anything out of the norm of a man living with a woman, or a man having multiple women that are exclusive to him. That's the only situations that I could understand outside of my religious box. Those are the only things I can look at and say, I get it, I understand it. You know, you're not a religious person, but you're in a relationship that is. So when it comes to like things I call perversions, where, you know, men are just being promiscuous, or like, what's he call it? Roller Tomasi call it spinning plates.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Dating multiple women, women dating multiple men, or this term dating, it confuses me. I don't understand what dating means. Sometimes, is that a cold word for having sex, or is it you are having lunch? I don't. Do you know what I mean?
I think
it
the two are
confuses
implied.
me. So,
like, you know, I think they're in 21st century terms, I don't think there's any mutual exclusivity in them. I think it's expected that you take her by the time, according to the modern. I'm not cutting you off, but according to modern vernacular, I think, and PUA world, by the time you're buying her dinner, which you should do on a first date, you're having sex with her.
Okay.
Wow, man. Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot. These things are not acceptable, even though they happen. In my opinion, they're not. I wouldn't want my son sleeping with multiple women. I want him. If you know that you like multiple women, and you know that this is going to be an issue for your life, then start thinking about polygamy. But before you enter into polygamy, maximize your power. You know, make money so that when you do it, you know, you're doing it from an honorable position. And that's it for me. Anything else, as far as I know, I'm not interested in that. It just should have been that I've got. I can't see myself advocating any other life or system.
Yeah.
For a man.
Man, I got some crazy question here. Before I go into this, let me answer this question. EC Smooth. Howdy, Abuamerican. There's a young Muslim guy that lives in my building with his wife and 2 children. Every week he does 6 hours of family laundry by himself. Is that haram? Anyway, look, man, I can't rule. I'm not like a scholar of Islam. I'm not even a student of knowledge. They have like different levels of people in Islam who can make rulings and who can teach Islam or whatever. There's like students of knowledge. Talib al-ilm is what he's called. There's a da'i. There's a caller, a person who calls to Islam. There's a scholar. He's a sheikh. There's like a major scholar. Those are the ulama. These are people who have studied like in universities as their life study Islam. So I can't rule haram or halal. To understand, EC Smooth, I don't think you're Muslim. If you are, I apologize. But haram and halal, what's permissible and impermissible, first and foremost, understand these are ruled by Allah and his messenger. And anybody who says anything after that wasn't ruled, like using the internet or whatever else, then they're using an interpretation upon the understanding of what they knew of Islam back then and what would be considered haram or halal in this day and age, which takes a special study. I don't have this, but it's very clear and it's very well known that a man doing laundry at home is not haram. A man doing housework in his home is not something that's going to be considered impermissible. So I could just tell you that right now. This much I can tell you. He can wash dishes, whatever else, whatever he agrees to upon with his wife, fine. Why he would agree to that is a different story altogether. Now, a man, your story is kind of empty here. Every week he does 6 hours of family laundry by himself. I mean, is this guy working? If he's jobless, then he needs to be doing something, okay? Yeah. But if he's working and he's coming home and doing 6 hours of laundry, I find that problematic. Now, if they have an agreement because he works and his wife works and they have some sort of agreement, fine, that's their business. I'm not going to do it. I mean, any woman who's coming on Team Abuamerican, I'm like, I don't care if you work. If you don't wash the dishes, they're going to stay in the sink. And if they stay in the sink to the point that I can't find a plate to eat on, I'm not even joking. I'm going to go out and buy paper plates and I'm going to eat off a paper plate. And those dishes are going to stay in the sink until you wash them. I'm not sorry. You can call that misogyny, hypermasculinity, toxic masculinity, call you what you want. I ain't doing the dishes, okay? Abuamerican ain't the dishwasher. That's your job, all right? I'm being really ignorant and, you know, sexist right now, but I'm being honest. I'm not doing dishes. So whatever agreement he has with this guy, with his wife or whatever else, because maybe he's working, maybe he's not working, there's a lot missing from the story, that's his business. But it is not haram for a man to do housework. And understand that when I say Abuamerican is not going to do housework, I'm not saying it's haram. I'm just saying it's Abuamerican. It's not. I'm just not. Okay. So the acceptable models of relationships, according to Abuamerican, there are 3 forms, according to me. And all of this is based off Islam. Of course, it's going to be not tainted, excuse me, that's an improper term. But since I am a Muslim and I have a proclivity towards Islam, I'm going to speak from the position of Islam. And so what I would say, the 3 positions which would be acceptable to me, and this can apply to both Muslims and non-Muslims, is first, monk mode, like he's single. The guy can be single and he's working on himself. Sadiq talked about this. He's building himself. He's building his wealth so that he can have the position of strength and authority in terms of negotiating when it comes down to picking his future partner. A man has to do we talk about this every freaking week, that a guy got to go out and he's got to handle his business. He's got to make sure his stuff's in line, you know, because really women are sexual selectors and men are relationship selectors. And so, yeah, even though women out here is deciding who they open their legs to, unless of course we're talking about something evil like rape, generally men decide who they're going to be in a relationship with when he has his wits about himself and he's not like losing his mind because the girl just whipped out her joints on him and, you know, he went all googly eyes because he's goofy. So that's the first one. Guy just being by himself, you know, building himself, working himself. Now, according to Islamic rulings, a guy is not supposed to stay single, you know, that he's just going to go straight up like a monk and then not marry. Islamically, this is not acceptable. That a guy builds himself with the intention to marry in the future, this is acceptable. There's hadith to support that, but I'm not going to present it here. My rants, I'll go for the next 2 hours. Next would be monogamy. Now, when I say monogamy, this of course applies to Christians. This applies to Muslims. Monogamy in terms of he has one wife. Guys, I don't think you should be getting, this is my humble opinion, but I don't think you should be going for like state marriages. Get a religious marriage. Go to your church, you know, get your pastor to marry you, go to the masjid or get the imam to marry you, but I don't think you need like legal marriage. We talked about this last episode also. I think it was the last episode that the government just basically, anytime they go into something, they screw it up. They're just really bad at like handling stuff. And if we are going to have marriages, and I'll repeat it here, again, that we should have privatized marriages from private corporations. They're just going to be more efficient at it because that's going to be their entire business. So they're going to make sure there's going to be an entire industry that springs up around, you know, men getting the best deal, women getting the best deal. And eventually it'll like come to this stalemate because they're just businesses are good at business, that there'll be some sort of, you know, return to balance within the system just because that's a business model for companies. After that, I would say is polygyny, and this excludes polyamory. When I say polygyny, this means one man, like Sadiq was saying, has multiple women and religiously married. And before I became Muslim, I was of the opinion that Christianity does support and does allow polygynous marriage. Now, of course, you're going to say, oh, well, those are fringe Christian groups. But if you look in the Bible anywhere, there's nothing prohibiting it. And there are signs of it all over the Bible. So this is a different conversation and argument. But I think one man should be able to have multiple women. And if you look from an anthropological standpoint, where in the world, in any society, have you seen globally, from the past to contemporary, where men haven't generally had multiple women? It's just been a fixture of human. Sorry to
cut you there. Can you expand on this, for a lot of the females that may be watching that are currently shaking right now because of what you're saying? Because it's going to trigger a few of them. And one thing that I've realized as I'm getting older and wiser is that why should we feel demonized for wanting polygamy? We're always made to feel like we're seedy or there's some sort of crazy lack of control about us that makes us want to have or it becomes about them, what they're lacking in, you know. Why am I not good enough for you? Why can't you accept me? But they're willing to accept our biological differences, our physiological differences, our psychological differences in every way except our desire for another wife or multiple women.
Well, there you go. I mean, you just basically named it. I mean, let's look at this from a biological standpoint. I mean, in every single species across the planet, from humans to snails to whatever else, you find that the females have a slower and what's the word I'm looking for, and a more exact reproductive system. For lack of a better term, I don't know what else to call it. Generally, walaikum assalam, too big. Women produce anywhere between 1 to 2 eggs a month, right? I mean, 2 ovaries, they can produce more, but generally it's a very low number of eggs. So their reproductive strategy is going to be one of like focusing on, you know, the highest quality male they can get for those few eggs that they produce in a month.
From the time they're born, they have their eggs
fixed them out.
Like I mean, they've got to fix them out. Like they don't reproduce them. They just they got them. Yeah.
Now men, they have shown that the average healthy male, physically healthy male, can produce enough sperm in 1 month to populate every single woman on the planet.
Oh, damn.
How on earth are we going to have similar reproductive strategies if women are looking for precision and men have like a huge spray and pray? I mean, we can literally, I mean, we do. That's the male reproductive strategy. And we have a reproductive system that supports that as men. Women do not. So it's a bit strange that they would expect us to have this reproductive system as men that's like on super crazy hyperdrive, you know, producing millions upon millions of sperm every day, you know, where they're only producing 2 eggs tops in a month. I mean, I'm not really sure if it's 2 eggs in a month, but we'll just go with that. They have 2 little ovaries and it drops 1 every month. So 2 eggs in a month, you know, just why we see women with twins on. That's the general norm, you know, throughout historical. You don't find triplets and quadruplets and all this happening generally historically. So 2 eggs a month, we'll go with 2 eggs a month, and men producing millions of sperms a day. How is it even remotely logically possible for men and women to have the same reproductive strategy? It's impossible. And now here's the thing. And despite our reproductive strategies being different, they go together, because a top tier male, women are going to want the sperm from that top tier male. The reality is not all men are going to be top tier. And obviously, according to reproduction, the way that the laws created us, it's very clear that polygyny was in the books, because if that wasn't the case, then men would produce 2 sperms a day, right? And then the top male would only have sex with 1 female. Impossible. The top tier male was designed to be able to reproduce with multiple women so that the best possible genes are passed on generation to generation, thus improving the human species. And really, we see this in all species. When we look at lions, one male has an entire pride and he fights all the other males. And when he wins, he gets to reproduce with multiple women because his genes are the strongest. And those are spread amongst the females. Now, obviously, the other lions, they can they can make their own lesser prides and whatnot, and they can have their pride, but it's going to be a step down from who the alpha was. We're going to use this term alpha and beta just for the particular conversation we're having here. How is it possible that we would have the same reproductive strategy? It's obvious that women are going, and we see this right now in the current world that we're in, the 80-20 rule. We have, and OkCupid proved this, because OkCupid did statistics on like matching and whatnot, and matching rates, and they were showing that 80% of the women are chasing the top 20% of men on the application, and the 80% of the men, they're just chasing whatever women they could try and get, and they're failing miserably. And so already women are proving themselves that polygyny is the status quo for humans, because they're all going for the same guys. It can't be the case that like 50,000 women on one application are going for 8,000 guys, and that polygyny wouldn't be a thing. Because if we actually took them off the app, what would happen? We see it happening in the real world also. You have a few number of guys banging a large woman and of women. Women themselves, they confirm polygyny. So I don't know why all of a sudden they have this emotional blockade inside of themselves that says, oh, well, I can't do it. And really, when you talk to women and you deal with them, they really can. If a woman won't do polygyny, that means she won't do it for you. That's the reality. This is what most men are finding out, that they're not from the top 20%, and it hurts. Nobody wants to hear I'm not the top 20%. If you go to your girl and say, hey, you don't want to take another wife, and she like freaks out and really goes crazy, understand you in her eyes are not worth sharing. And that's, guys, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself, because that's going to hurt. And you're never going to look at your wife the same.
On the flip side, how much does Western social conditioning play a part? Because huge. I find you actually have to break down a lot of their because you know we know the media and Disney has fed them imagery after imagery of monogamous relationships, and they've demonized this whole, even amongst Muslims. You know, I find Muslim sisters, some of them are making excuses and saying you can only do it if she's a widower, or and just chatting rubbish.
They just be making up their own rules, man.
Yeah, everyone's making up their own rules. But in history, I'm not saying that every woman in history was okay with it, but we've had a millennia of polygamy, and it seemed to be doing well until the last 2 centuries, and then it seems like they're shaking about it. So what happened? What was the turning point where it became demonized? Was it the church? Was it just, you know, resources became more available? What do you think led to this current situation where women are now finding that they don't want to do it, or they don't have to do it, and demonizing men as a consequence?
Bobby, you were going to say something?
Well, no, you know, you said that you said something about like if you propose the idea of a polygamous relationship and she won't do it for you, then that means she doesn't recognize your top 20%. You know, I would reword it a little bit. Okay. Only in the sense that a lot of people don't like sharing. Okay?
It's true.
You know, now if you were to put it down, right, and be like, you know, hey, check it out. If you don't do this, I'm out. I'm done. Like, you know, then you really come to the question on whether she'll do it or whether she won't, right? But I mean, like most women, especially those that are from the Western culture, you know, or whatever, they are going to resist.
Absolutely.
Mad.
Yeah, right. I should clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just going to be like, oh, no, hell no, right?
Yeah.
They don't understand.
I mean, but here's the real deal of that, though, is that whether they want to admit it or not, okay, and most people that know me, that follow me, know that I'm pretty I'm pretty fair when it comes to the opposite sex and like what they may be going through or thinking or whatever. I'm pretty fair. I'm not like a red pill guy to where, you know, I like to think of myself as pretty level, right? But I will say this, but forget everything I just said. No, I will say this, okay? Whether they want to admit it or not, women want a man that is that top tier dude. They want a man that if he wanted could have every chick on the block.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if the woman for some reason really doesn't, okay, not that she's, you know, just saying she doesn't, but secretly she does. But I mean, she's really got, then, you know, not to sound like an asshole, but there's something wrong with her. Like there is like a mental deficiency, right? Because really, you know, women like the idea that their man is the baddest, the best, the coolest, whatever, you know, like they love that, you know. Now, whether that they like the idea that may translates into where he's going to be laying pipe all over the place, they may not like that part, you know, because people like, you know, people are selfish, you know, ultimately men and women, they're selfish, you know, but I mean, but as far as like the male female dynamic and like what they're kind of genetically and mentally disposition towards, they love thinking that their dude is the shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I find as well? What's actually funny is that a lot of them will bring up, oh, my dad loved my mum and he didn't look anywhere else, and I'm like,
you didn't know your dad.
Exactly. You didn't know your dad.
I feel like I'm letting them in on a secret sometimes, because I'm like, guess what? We're all the same. We
Absolutely.
all are the same.
They're not ready for that. They're not ready for
There's
it.
not one man that I know that if he had the opportunity without headache, because we have to, you know, some men don't want the headache.
Exactly.
That every man I know would want to be in a polygamous marriage or situation if he had the pass. And that's what I'm having to explain sometimes, is that sometimes people just don't want the trouble. That's the only thing stopping them. It's not love or this intense devotion to one woman that will stop them. Sometimes we just weigh up the options and say, do you know what? I want a peaceful life. I'm not going down that road.
That's the female idea. But see, that's the problem. You know, women are very compartmentalized and solipsistic. So everything they view, women do a lot of what I like to call, or what is called, external projection. This is my worldview, and so everybody else has to see it like this. You know, and there's these two guys, I can't remember what their names are. They do this YouTube channel, and basically they were showing like how women are reacting to being put on an application as a man. I think it was what's it called, Tinder. Women were given a male profile and men were given a female profile, and they couldn't fathom and understand why their results were so horrible. They were like, I just don't get it, because in their mind, they think that men are experiencing the world and the dating world in the same way they are. Women don't, they have a difficult time, you know, thinking outside of that box, and like, you know, actually men are having a very, very different world experience, you know, than we are as women. And so the same thing applies when you talk about this stuff. Yeah, well, she's compartmentalized the idea of loving a husband. Yeah, well, my dad loved my mom so much that he would never do that. In her mind, you know, that's how she sees love, and how she, you know, from a one egg, I have to, like, you know, invest so much into this very few egg type of, you know, and so I need to attach myself to this guy mentality, you know, as to where a man, you know, he's like, hey, look over there. Whoa, look over there. Whoa, you know, it's like, you know, really, that's your lizard brain, like, yo, spray and pray, man. I'd hit it, you know, even if you don't do it. Please don't do it, guys. But I'm just saying, that's the going on in the back of your head. Women don't have that, you know. They're automatically looking for disqualifiers on every guy that comes past their path. They want to find out and make sure that you are the top guy for those few eggs that I got. And they're not thinking this actively. I've got 2 eggs, and is this guy good enough for him? They're not like literally thinking that, but basically this is what their entire biological subroutine is taking them through. And that biological subroutine is socially expressed in disqualifying you as a man. Oh, look at his clothes. He has no dress sense. Oh, look at the way he talks to people. He has no social acumen. Is he making enough money? This, that, and the other. You know, so she's going down ways to disqualify you, to take down your value, not in a hostile way, but in a way to make sure that she's getting the best possible man she can for her eggs. Right. So obviously she's going to see like, oh, my dad he loved my mom, and that's why he never took another girl. No. Your dad was a horn dog just like the rest of us. Maybe he had it under check or under control better than us, or maybe he just hit it real well. You know, we don't know. But the reality is that man, exactly. Exactly. He just hit it real well.
Check his Google searches.
You want to know what's crazy? So they used to say that about my grandpa, right? So my grandfather that raised me was like this, you know, he was this Catholic, you know, real straight, not like my other grandfather, who was a total and complete womanizer. You know, my dad's dad was just like, he owned this aviation business. Dude was a stud, man. Like, I mean, my grandma knew like he had other chicks and everything like that, you know, like, but the one that raised me, it's like super duper Catholic, super duper straight edge, didn't swear, didn't do nothing, right? And that's like what my mom and my aunts and like everybody that knew him, he was just so good to my grand. Let me tell you something. One time he was taking me to school, right, when I was a teenager. He was driving me to school, and he was talking about how he met my grandma, right? And he goes, you know, and he was saying, yeah, I was supposed to see this other girl, you know, and then I saw I saw your grandmother, and I was like, boy, I really want to get with her, you know, and so I made the move and I got with her, you know, and like there was silence in the car for like a few seconds, and like while he was still driving, he goes, and it was the worst mistake I ever made in my life. And man, I was about like 16 years, I was like 15, 16 years old. I was like, you know, and like, I think he caught what he was saying, because like he looked at me too and he was like, you know, like, I got you, I knew it, I knew. Yeah, I think grandma's too crazy, man. But I mean, like, and he was like, you know, one of those dudes to where it was like, oh, this God-fearing Catholic man who's, you know, I mean, I took that guy when I got out of the joint. I took that guy to church every Sunday until he died. Like, because, you know, just as like my penance, my payback for him, you know, raising me and all that, you know, I just had, so I mean, it's like he was really devout, you know, and even him, he was like, you know, like in that moment where he let his guard down a little bit, he was like, oh yeah, I messed up, son.
And that's the thing. It's like, sometimes I have to explain is that that's one desire that doesn't take away your standing as a man if you don't act upon it in a sleazy manner. Like, I don't care if you're an imam, a priest, whoever you are, I know you like women, and it's okay. That it's okay. I won't judge you. I've seen by accident porn on someone's computer that I would never in a million years had. You know what I mean? Like, very religious. So I just pretended I never saw it. I never thought about it again. It's just, yo, man, I get it. Men like women. So this whole demonization of, you know, they always try to make it seem, what's that word? I forgot the word, but we all know what we're talking about. But how is society going to deal with this? Because
they try and make us look abnormal for wanting multiple wives.
They do. But the thing is that we all know the stereotype of the man at his funeral, mistress in the back with the black, the black thing over her head, and that's even in mainstream culture. We all know the stereotype. Yeah. We all know men that go out and sleep with multiple women and go back home, and so it's not just an Islamic thing. It's not just a you know.
Oh no.
No. Yeah, you know, but I mean, the all the signs are right there. One of the biggest problems with this entire conversation and why we end up having these conversations with women and them thinking we're abnormal is other men. You know, men are like pushing and conforming to female ideas and concepts that they want to believe. And when a woman wants to believe something and then she gets validation for that belief anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's one fringe person in like some weird corner of the earth who obviously shouldn't be speaking on the topic. She'll take that topic from that one person and carry it to her grave like if it's gospel. When you got a bunch of men out saying, "Oh no, I only want one girl," you know, and maybe he does from a problematic and a financial sense. But when we talk about from a raw lust and desire sense, come on, if this was true, if what all these guys are telling all these women is true, why is pornography such a prolific industry in the 21st century? It doesn't match. They're liars, and why can't women see it? This is the reality of the conversation that we need to be having. Not the reality of the conversation is, why do women believe these guys when it's obvious and clear that there's a clear disconnect between what they're saying and the world they're living in? Because when you talk to most guys, no, there's only Susie Q for me. Okay, fine. Maybe you're not watching porn, but there's like 80 million porn channels and one channel might have 80 million porn videos on it. You know what I mean? Why does that exist? Is one guy or those few guys? Are you trying to say it's just like me, the guy with like 3 wives? I'm the guy watching that, really? Or is Ted over there, you know, you know, who's with his wife, you know, and he's like, you can see he's bummed out, like, he's looking at the teenage girl walking by, like, is it him or is it me? Because I'm getting what I want. So what, you know, we need to this is the conversation that women really need to be looking at. And this is what they need they should be putting these things together. If they're really, you know, as logical and analytical as men like they like to say they are, then they need to be looking at this and say, well, why does porn exist? Why do prostitutes exist?
Because this is a result of a cancer. This is a cancer because
it's socialization.
You're suppressing something that is actually okay. And it's bubbling up underneath the surface and coming out in perversions and prostitutions and all these weird things that are popping up because men are not being allowed their basic human right to more than one woman.
There's a book by Esther Villar. It's called The Right to, the Men's Right to Multiple Women. If anybody's seen that book, go ahead and pick it up. It's by Esther Villar. It's written by a woman, actually.
But you know what?
She got death threats for that.
I want to do my part.
But she made some good sales for it too.
She
I want to do my part. Because with my daughters, I've already said with my daughters that I will encourage them to be part of polygamous marriages. And people always say to me, why would you want to? And what I'm trying to explain is that I want my daughters to be the piece of their husband's eye, the apple of their eye, to be the most beloved thing to them. So one thing that you find with women in relationships, a lot of the time, a lot of their focus is on what activities their husband's up to, or who he's talking to, or what is he doing, instead of focusing on building and whatever. They're so concerned about what's in his phone, who he's talking to. But imagine being in a relationship where that's not the focus of the woman, because she understands his nature as a man.
That takes training in the 21st century.
He's gonna have another wife. I'm okay with that. Let's focus on the bigger picture. I want my daughters to be those women, so that in the long run it benefits them.
Yeah, it's very good that you're training your daughters, because whenever I take on a new wife, I have to train her, and they're like, well, why can you have access to my phone, but I can't have access to yours? Yeah. I'm like, well, I got multiple wives. Maybe you'll see a message from her or a message I send to her and you'll get jealous. I don't surf porn, but I expect it from my wives. It's like, I know they want to show off their bodies just like every other woman in the world, but alhamdulillah, they don't. So it's like, show it to me. Go ahead and send me them titty pics, baby. Yeah, and she can send them to me. Now, what if I give you access to my phone? Do you want your co-wife to see your titties? No. Okay, then you can't see my phone, but I need to see your phone. So, it's good. You have to train these women, man. You got to train them to be in the frame that you want them to be, Yeah. This is my show. This is the Abuamerican show, baby.
I hear you, man.
So it's good that you're doing that. My daughter's 20. She's looking for a husband, and she said, I want you to find me a husband that's not polygamous. I'm like, how do you want me to do that? This is a part of Islam, and we're Muslims. Yeah. I'm like, and if he wants to take a husband, I'm not gonna be like, well, come back home and you can leave your husband. I'm like, you're gonna have to be patient with that. That's your husband. Do you want him to go out and cheat on you? No. Okay, then take your co-wife. Because I don't want a guy that I think he's gonna have to sneak around and creep or whatever else. I really want a guy that weak as my daughter's husband, that he's got to hide from you? Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't make him, don't break that guy like that. He's going to love you, and he might actually break who he is as an individual, in order to be with you. And
he might break a man. You sometimes just the option is good enough sometimes for some men, just to know that they can do it without problem. It's the freedom. It's like knowing the door's locked and knowing it's unlocked. It changes your mindset to how you live your life, So
non-scarcity, man.
Exactly.
When a guy learns how to make money, does he really worry about it? When there's this is something you got to do when you have kids. You understand this when you have kids. If you restrict, now I'm not saying feed your kids candy at 11 o'clock at night, but if they always think candy is not available in the house and it's like a super special treat, the moment they get the freedom and money to buy their own candy, what's going to happen? They're going to explode in weight because they're going to start smashing that stuff like crazy. But when they understand it's always available, when they can know I can go to the cabinet and I ain't got to grab a handful and run off because I'm not sure if I'm going to get some tomorrow. What do? They're more responsible with it. But of course, this has to be taught also. It's like, no, you don't need 10 pieces. Come back. There's going to be more here. Nobody's going to take it from you. It's going to be there. And then they have to understand that it becomes reinforced when they come back the next day and it's there and it's there and it's there and it's there, But those people with that scarcity mindset, this is one of the biggest problems that I have. This is why I say red pill rot. And as much as the red pill world has helped me in a lot of understanding in women, there's no way you can stay in that environment and not deteriorate in terms of your morals and your ethics. Because what happens, most men have a scarcity environment when it comes to women. And so what happens, they learn the tricks and the trades to get certain types of women, and they get a lot of them. And then they just go crazy. And then what happens? They become nihilistic about women. Now they're out here talking about, don't get married. I slept with so many married women. Who told you to go sleep with married women? What? You know, I'm high value, this, that, the other. But you're only sleeping with married women. You can't do better. Abuamerican's got multiple wives and I can go get women that were like virgins and never been married. How am I doing better than you? And you're this high value guy who knows how to gain women. It's contradictory. You know, it's a poison. And you can actually poison people from too much or too little of something. And this is what happened. Guys who have had too little for too long, they come across this information and this knowledge, and then it poisons them because they get too much of something. You know, we know about toxicities. Some things have low toxicity, other things have high toxicity. But no matter what, there is a level of toxicity. Even water, you can drink too much water and kill yourself. Everything has a toxicity level, and this includes social movements also. I exclude religion from that.
That's so
you do have extremists, actually. You do got extremists who go too far, so that's not even true. You know, even in Islam, we got extremists who go too far. And sorry guys, you know, I'll rant.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So moving away from polygamy,
yes, sir.
We all know polygamy. I mean, monogamy is a pretty standard and accepted way of life. But I was reading earlier on. There's some interesting systems and societies around the world. There's one island in Africa, off the west coast of Africa, a matriarchal society where the women get to choose their partners and the men.
So I mute my mic now.
I know. Hold on, man. I just got a call.
We've arrived already.
I'm angry already.
and the men don't have a choice. So they can literally go and point at their partner and say, "You are my husband." And due to not wanting to bring shame upon their families, the men agree, and they're not expected to do anything apart from
look good. I read that article you sent me.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah.
Look good for their wives and basic domestic duties. Nothing strenuous.
The women can not only force the men into divorce, but be like, you're taking the kids too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the men are the trophy pieces.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have a single father problem.
Women, I know. The women are the chieftains. They're the lawmakers. They're all this different stuff. You know, here's my only problem with that. I mean, there's exceptions to everything, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe on this one little island in this great big world, like they've got some kind of thing set up to where it's somehow working for them.
Yeah.
But as far as like civilized world, right? I've seen too many gnarly single mother examples and stories. You know, when I was in prison, I would guesstimate that probably about 8 out of 10 people in there had no father in the household.
Yeah.
Okay? Like it was a real high number, right? Like super duper high, right? So I mean, there's just too many of those instances to where I don't see like a matriarchal
society
system being good. I just don't.
Not.
And sorry, ladies, if you're tuning in and watching, but I mean, I'm one of those believers in the traditional nuclear family. Yeah, you know, like there's a man, there's a woman, they have their roles. You know, I mean, hey, my wife's an educated woman that makes over $200,000 a year, and she's you know, Orthodox Christian Armenian, and she does the traditional like I'm the man, she's the woman. You know, I mean, like, and she's by no means dumb. Like she's actually extremely intelligent, right? But I mean, she just recognizes the value in it. You know, she was brought up in it. She sees it. You know, so it's I've just seen too many things to where I mean, I'm sure that there, like I said, there's some exceptions out there, but as a rule, I don't see that as a good thing at all.
So is this where I like go on a rant and like really cut into this really bad? Is this?
I mean, would we have it any other way?
I actually have some knowledge, a small amount of knowledge on this topic because I've researched it. And as far as I know, this new culture that you put in the group, that was a new one for me. I actually never heard of them. So I know of like multiple matriarchal societies in the world. There's one in Morocco. There's one in East Africa and Kenya. These are recent, these two. There's one in Nepal. And there's one in, I believe it's Ghana. And then there's this one that you just sent. So 5 matriarchal societies that I've ever heard of in the world. Now, if you do research, except for this latest one, but looking at the pictures and what I saw of them, this applies to them also. One of the markers of modern societies is how much trash, how much waste a society produces annually. Now, this might sound like a negative marker, but it's one of the markers of the signs of modernity in a society. And combined, all of those societies produce less than like 11 pounds of trash a year. Combined.
Wow.
Now, these people, all of them, bar none, live in mud huts, have no piped water to their house, have no inside toilets. They don't have toilets in their houses. They're using the bush, quite literally. They live in the bush and they're using the bush, and they produce nothing, meaning they have zero manufacturing capacity or capability. They do not have the ability to produce anything. Anything they need, they have to go outside and they need to purchase. Now, you can go to some of the worst, quote unquote, patriarchal countries in the world. I don't care, something like Chad, and you will find that they manufacture or produce something. But they are run by men. Men are the builders and maintainers of all modern societies. Can you imagine living in a world where you do not have running water nor a toilet inside of your house? This is what matriarchy brings you. Because you know what it does? It detaches men from what drives them the most, which is the desire to shine so he can get that girl. And if that girl can just come along and choose you today and leave you tomorrow, whatever else, what's his motivation to go out and be the best guy that he possibly can be? Zero. Because now it's just a roll of the dice. Is she going to come along and pick me or not? It doesn't matter. Yeah, generally, they probably are going to pick the best looking men. That's what they're going to do. But they're going to pick a rotation of the best looking men. And we know sometimes that doesn't mean anything. Look at, what's that lady's name? Jada. We just went over, and Will Smith. Why on earth would she want to cheat on Will Smith? The guy is ostensibly a good-looking guy. He's successful. He's in good shape. You know, he's rich. He's got everything going for him. And she's cheating on a guy who, yes, is probably good-looking and rich, but not to the extent that Will Smith is. Look at what's the basketball player name?
Oh man, kid. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what's his name? Anyway, he's a basketball player, one of the best in America. You know, Geez, why is this? Hold on, I had to check my Instagram.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, thank you. Steph Curry. His wife was like, sometimes I wish I can get some, some attention from dudes, out there. She wanted basic attention from basic dudes while married to Steph Curry. How could you imagine being married to Stephen Curry? How could she even imagine another guy? This guy is like a top athlete, top of his game, rich, ostensibly good looking, everything's going for him, and she wants attention from regular guys. Yeah, so it's like
a lot of them are dweebs.
Yeah, so this tells you that female decision making when it comes to mate choices, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And this is why these societies don't produce anything, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to be the best and top guy if your girl's just going to cheat on you with some regular dude later on down the road. That's why their societies suck. Matriarchies suck. You want a Western matriarchy? Black America. What does Black America do? It sucks. I'm going to say it as Black American. Black America sucks. We have a horrible track record. We've got the most abortions. We've got the least marriage rates. We've got some of the highest divorce rates. We've got like the highest single mother rate. We got the highest criminal rate, which is directly connected to the single mother rate. Dudes, matriarchies don't work. This is not, now when we're coming down to talking about acceptable models of relationships for men in the 21st century, it is not acceptable for you gentlemen to be in a polyamorous relationship where there's one woman and multiple men. That is not acceptable, man. Unfollow me on Twitter, unfollow me on YouTube. If you are one of those guys, you better stop. Don't do it. Just stay away from me. I don't want to see you. All right. I don't even want to see your likes. I don't want to see your retweets. I don't want to see your comments. Just stay the hell away from me. All right. Just don't be that guy. Sorry, I'm going off. I know I'm going on a tangent. Hey, I'm focusing too much on that.
You know what? I gotta say something though, only because we brought up Will Smith. Okay. So until Sadiq had brought it up, okay, I'm gonna claim ignorance right now. Until you had brought it up, I had never heard that Will Smith was homosexual or that was a theory. Okay, I never heard that. I never heard that. Okay,
I forgot all about that.
However, I was like looking at Netflix like a couple days ago, and there was like this. You know, on Netflix they got the little icon things. You know, like the little movie things for the whatever, and it was for like one of his movies. I'm like, dang, he looks kind of fruity right there, right? So then I searched Will Smith, right, in Netflix, and man, like every one of his things, like I'm thinking, he looks gay as a motherfucker right here, man. So then since you said that, like I don't know if it was because you said it planted the seed or what, but I'm just like, oh, he is. Oh, okay, I'm seeing it now. So like I'd never heard that before, but man, I can see how there might be some truth behind that.
Yeah. But that's not an acceptable relationship model for guys. That's not acceptable. And guys, I'm sorry.
Men are in that situation without realizing. Well, they know
sharing
they are.
Women is not an option either.
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
A lot of guys sleep with promiscuous women knowingly, and I don't understand why they think that's okay. You know, she's a hoe. Why do you need to be throwing your hat in the ring?
Hold on, Will Smith is not gay, but he is pretty feminine. You know, tomato.
PUA Twitter actually got really mad at me, and I got into a big fight with them. It was about last year about this very topic, and I was saying that these guys, PUA Twitter, they're a bunch of cuckolds, and they didn't want to hear it. And I'm like, are you sharing women when you knowingly sleep with a married woman? Yes. Yeah. Anyone who shares a woman is what? It's a cuckold. If you knowingly, maybe her husband, and he's like, well, I'm the bull and he's the whatever. Maybe the guy doesn't know. Does the guy know? Yeah, he doesn't know. So how can you be the bull? He's not like accepting it. Maybe if he knew, he'd leave his wife while you're actually doing it willingly. And we got to a big argument. Guys, in my humble opinion, sleeping with women that you know have a partner, that's cuckold stuff. If you're actually the PUA guru master, whatever you say you are, then go get a woman that doesn't have a man. I mean, if you're so good, it should be easy to do that. So, guys, to me, that's not an acceptable relationship model for a man in the 21st century either. Make sure you're actually high value and you can get a woman. If I'm Abuamerican, if I can get a woman that doesn't have a man and I got multiple women and I convince them to jump on the team, how can you not do it as a monogamous man? It's just, it doesn't make any sense, guys. Stop sharing hoo-ha. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting.
Can you imagine? Know what's crazy? I'm 43 years old now, right? And you know, my wife, you know, she sees my Twitter, she knows, you know, she sees the Instagram too and shit. I get hit up by girls in their early 20s all the time, like to where it's like, and I'm a married dude. So it's like I ain't even trying. You know what I mean? So it's like you're telling me that if you weren't to put a little bit of effort into it, like you could. I'm not saying, hey, if you want young 20-something, I'm just saying any woman. You know, like you couldn't do so. I think what it is, it's not. And I think what a lot of it is, guys, they do like a kind of negative self-talk to themselves, or like a negative, you know, thing, like they just think like, oh, they're not going to want me. So yeah, you just spoke something into you just self-prophecy, essentially what you're doing. And then B, they, like anything else, okay, they don't want to put in the work.
Yeah,
like even if they got to put in a little bit of work, they just don't want to. They don't want to do it. It's easier to watch porn.
Yeah. Or share some low value, some low grade.
And you know what? I 100% agree with you on that. And anybody out there that's watching, that's, you know, a follower of mine too, you should not be sharing women.
No.
Like you shouldn't be. If you know that there's a girl that you're seeing and it's like, okay, yeah, but I'm still seeing, this guy or this or that guy, or I'm doing this, or let's see, as let's stay let's not be exclusive, but just play the field as much as you want. You ain't gotta accept that. You gotta accept that.
Just walk away.
So what about this, this scenario? Typical typical, but a monogamous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
However, the power dynamic is with the woman and not the man. How do you see that? So the woman is the main decision maker. She's clearly the head of the relationship, because you do get some women who are quite powerful in their profession or even character, with like feeble looking soft guys, and yes, it's a halal relationship on face value, but what is your advice for men who are not the dominant force in their relationship, if that's the right word?
Well, they've already set a tone. So they've already accepted a situation. Like here's the problem with that, right? And once again, I'm going to plug Craig's book, because I was reading the copy earlier, and he spoke about this, right? That there's a guy, he gets stuck with some chick, and then she starts getting out of shape or starts acting a certain way, and then there's another guy, he comes home every day, dinner's waiting for him, kids are happy. And what was the difference? Well, one screened and paid attention, and the other didn't. So if you've already dived both feet into a relationship, right, your chances of changing that other person are pretty low. It's like next to none low. It's real tough to change people, male or female. They're just going to do what they do. Yeah. But if you've gone into a relationship with a certain set of standards, right, and a certain checklist, if you will, of what's acceptable and not acceptable, and you've screened, right, then you have more of a footing to stand on, as far as it's more likely going to be successful. And if something does start going screwy, it's like, hey, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah,
this wasn't part of the deal. And you have options at that point.
It's scarcity. Yeah, options. That's it right there. It's scarcity.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, it's like Bobby said, they're afraid to walk away. That's the biggest thing I find with a lot of guys. They're afraid to walk away because they're not sure when they're going to get their next hit, sort of like a drug addict,
right.
They're so scared that if she walks away, I'm going to be single for the next 10 years, or I'm going to, I'm not going to find anybody, or they believe the tropes that the woman tells them, you'll never find anybody like me. Well, maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the best for me, so
that's the idea, babe.
Yeah, exactly. But shifting power dynamics is very difficult. It is possible, but the question is it worth it? A lot of times if you find a guy that's in a relationship and he wants to shift the power dynamic with that woman, first off, it's like Bobby said, the precedence has been set. So to change it now is to change the entire nature of the relationship. More times than not, you're going to find that the relationship breaks because of it. Because women don't if you can get a woman to accept any rule you want from the start of the relationship, that'll be fine, because that's the status quo. But what you can't do with most women is come and change the story later. That's why early on I usually start with polygyny when I start discussing with women, because it's like, you need to know what you're getting into. And if you accept this, then fine. Understand this is the status quo from here out. I don't want to hear anything about new wives, this, that, the other. They know what's going on. A lot of guys come to me for one-on-ones and they're like, I married my wife and I want to marry another wife and this, that, the other. And I'm like, did you discuss this with her from the beginning? No. I said, be prepared to lose your wife, because you didn't make it part of your status quo from the beginning of the relationship. You can't, it's like going on to a job, and then you negotiate €35 an hour, and they're like, this is your job and these are your duties. Then you show up and your duties and your job has tripled. Now, yes, you're getting a good deal at €35 an hour, and generally in Germany, depending on what field you're in, but you're like, God dang, yo, did you just change the whole job? You just told me when I come on a job, I do this. Now it's doubled. It's the same thing to her. You basically flipped the script. You kind of hoodwinked her, and it looks very dishonest, And so for women, from an emotional perspective, that's very, very dishonest. And really, she's right. You know, you can't come in and like hoodwink her and trick her and then like, you know, will she stay with you? She might want to, maybe she will, but she'll never forgive you. So no matter what, your relationship is on the rocks. If she stays, she's going to resent you because you tricked her. And if she doesn't stay, then technically she's kind of right because you kind of tricked her. Even if you changed your mind, this is something that you should have left open from the beginning, that, hey, you know what? I have no intentions right now, but really, if I want to get married again later on down the road, then this needs to be an available option. Unless you got a woman who's just flexible all around and she's willing to accept that in general. So, you know, the power dynamics are the same way. You start off a relationship with a woman with a power dynamic with her in charge. You want to change that later on, you're going to run into the same problems. She's going to start looking at you like, who is this weirdo? Why is he like acting all like, you know, like he's in charge running the show all of a sudden? She's going to lead you nuts. You know, or if you get into a relationship with a power woman, what you have to do is you have to take her out of the environment of masculinity that she's in. This generally means if you run into a woman that's in a power situation, she grew up in a household where her mom ran the show. She grew up in a household where there was only her mom, or she is in a very masculine state of being, meaning she's out and she's living by herself. She's paying the bills. She's working. She's doing everything on her own. So she's used to making decisions and choices on her own. So when you come along and now you're like, well, hey, we're going to do this, she's going to panic. Well, my life is going fine. It's going perfect just as it is. Now I'm going to put my, you know, trust you, Mr. Guy, you know, with my life after I've made all the right choices. So what you have to do is step by step as a man, take her out of the masculine frame and show her that, yes, I actually have the competence as a man and the capacity to take those loads and those decisions off you. And let there be no doubt or no question. She wants that, but it's going to have to be incremental. And you can't do it 10 years in a relationship. It has to be something early on, because you didn't get to like she's in a power dynamic mode of the relationship from like, you know, one day to the next. You know, this is something that happened. Oh, you know, she was there in that mode and some form her character showed from the beginning of the relationship. And so you have to take her out of that masculine mode. That's what I say. Guys, we're 1 hour, 26 seconds. Should we go over questions?
Yeah, let's go over questions because I don't want to do the 2 hour thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I about to say I'm hungry. I came from work and
but I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just scrolling down here. Muslim guy. Okay, I answered that one. I'm just searching here, guys. There was a lot of questions.
And anybody got any questions? Spit them now. Let's get them out.
There was a few. Okay, here we go. Here's one. So if a man is not married but losing interest in his partner, should that man leave or cheat? Curious to hear your thoughts. I am of the opinion men are not engineered to remain monogamous. Irishman, I'm going to start off with this one and we'll go around the panel.
And he's Irish. He already knows the answer. You already know the answer, man. Yeah. Why are you playing? You go out, you go down to the pub and you handle your business. He knows. Question. No, I'm playing with you, bro. I'm playing with you.
I can't remember who I was talking with. The other day, and it's called the Coolidge effect. And it was actually Calvin Coolidge, the president, who went to a animal research center and he saw how like one male with one female would slowly lose interest in that female, you know, despite that he always has constant sexual access to her. And then when they introduced a new female into the habitat with that male and that female, his interest immediately spiked in that new female. So despite having open sexual access to a female, he lost interest over time. This is in animals. And then when they introduced a new female into the environment, his interest in sex spiked again. And then that spike increased for both partners now. So it's obvious that men, and they actually tried this conversely, and they showed that it's not really the case with females. You know, that some females, they displayed this, but most didn't. So it's clear that men generally are, you know, interested in multiple partners. And so I think if you're losing interest in your partner, you need to explore before you like divorce or leave or whatever else. If this is a marriage, you should explore like maybe taking on another wife. Here I am suggesting this online because it will. As a man who's polygynous, I find it that I am at my absolute best. And my wife will say this, and she said this before. She says, I hate the fact that he's at his best when there's multiple women at play. And it's true. I'm at my absolute best when I have my women around me. And so I think the same would apply to you because we're all men at the end of the day. Anyone else?
If a man is not married but losing interest in his partner, should the man leave or cheat?
Oh, not married. He said that.
You know, I mean, if you're a man of integrity, a man of your word, you know, you probably shouldn't. You should probably, and I mean, you should not cheat. I mean, it would be better, like for you, as a person of integrity, or to leave. You know, here's another thing though. Like once you are in a marriage, whether you're single or whether you get in a marriage later, this is always going to be the case. There's always going to come a time to where you're like, I'm not feeling my partner. I mean, they call it the 7-year itch, right? They've even got a term for it, you know, to where it's like you've been together for so long and it's like, I'm starting to look at other women because, you know, I'm bored of this one or whatever. So it's really just, oh, there he went. Okay. Bye, Craig. No, anyways, it's just one of those things to where it's really an issue that you're going to have to deal with about who you are and what you decide to do, because it's going to happen whether it's this girl, the next girl, or the one after that. Like it's just something that'll keep happening.
Yeah, I think with what Bobby said, it's whether you've got commitment issues or not, because you will come across this. It will never go away. You know, no matter who you're with, there will be that point where you might find her less desirable. So maybe you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, have you got commitment issues? And, you know, ultimately, you're the one that's going to have to make the decision yourself, whether you want to stay or not. We can't make that for you.
Yeah. Rishi, he asked, Abu, could you expand on what you were saying about not being a monk in Islam? Yeah, there's a hadith where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and I can only paraphrase it. I'd have to look up the hadith. But basically, there was 3 men, and he overheard them speaking. And one said, you know, I will fast, and I won't break my fast. One said, I'll pray, and I will continually pray, and, you know, not break my prayer. And the other one said, he said, I will become like a monk, and I'll never marry women. And the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, he rebuked all of them. He says, you know, he said, I fast, and I break my fast. I pray, and then sometimes I rest. And he says, in me, I marry the women. And then he said, anyone who like opposes my sunnah, my way of life, he says, then he is not from amongst us. So it's not something that's permissible for Muslims to do. Monasticism, I believe, is the term. It's not something that is allowed, or he would have allowed it. You know, yeah. Looking for the next questions. I'm just shooting down here real fast. Guys, if I miss one, then I apologize. But I'm being as quick as possible because I'm hungry. Awesome. Oh, it looks like it. Some other stuff here I'm not really going to address. Guys, if you're having issues like, you know, how to speak, you know, publicly and whatnot, or how to like be more of an orator, pick up a book and read out loud. You should be reading anyway. You know, pick up a book, read out loud, listen to yourself speak, listen to yourself read and whatnot. You know, when I read really fast or I speak really fast, this is actually I learned from reading out loud and stuff like this. And then learn to speak in public. You know, it makes you more confident in your speaking. Also, you become less fearful of speaking this type of stuff.
Learn to think a couple sentences ahead too. Yeah. So I've done a lot of public speaking. I still do public speaking. If you can not only control your cadence, but learn to think a couple sentences ahead of what you're going to say, your delivery and your timing will be much better. And you'll get rid of a lot of those type fillers that don't sound better later.
I need that. I need that advice.
Is it mandatory for a young man, this is my English teacher, you forgot the definite article A. Is it mandatory for a young man seeking marriage to achieve certain milestones, such as driving license, a driver's license, property, vehicle, ownership, etc.? From an Islamic standpoint, you just need to be able to feed, clothe, and house a woman. That is the Islamic absolute minimum for you to marry a woman. That's also the maximum, actually. There's really not much more put upon you. Really, if you want to have milestones outside of those ones which were placed upon you as a Muslim, because I know Anonymous Assassin is a Muslim, then any more power to you, bro. Yeah. Anyone else?
You know, just as a man, you know, not necessarily injecting any philosophical or religious into it, but as long as you're not sinning or doing a disgrace to God or to your family or whatever, you should try and experience as much life as possible. You get one of these, you're going to be dead a whole lot longer than you'll be alive. So, I mean, you should want to, experience the world in a good way, not in a way that goes against your God.
Okay, I understand now. Relationship of your woman or women with gay men and transgenders, absolutely off limits. Look, it's just off limits, man. Yeah, no opposite sex friends, period.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no gay friends. There's nothing. My women are not allowed to have friends of the opposite sex. I don't care if they're gay, transgender. Wait a minute. So it's a woman, actually. No, because morally, I find that reprehensible.
It could still be a man. If it's a man transgendering to be a woman.
Yeah, if it's a woman being a man or a man being a woman, I just find it morally, problematic. Yeah. I just don't want anyone like that. Next thing you know, they're gonna want to have story hour in my house, with a pole. They're gonna come set up, or they're gonna use one of my poles in here, and they want to have story hour. What do we have in my house? Drag story hour. I just don't support that type of lifestyle personally as a Muslim, and so I wouldn't want my woman around those types of people, male or female. Period. If it's a gay woman, I don't want my woman around it. And if it's a gay man, well, he's a man. At the end of the day, he's ready to poke any hole he can get his winky in. So, and my wife's got multiple holes. So no, stay away from her. It's just no.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah. I mean, I just, And then plus the whole lifestyle is super duper promiscuous. Yeah. So like even if they aren't making a move towards your old lady, they could be planting little seeds of dissension in her head. Yeah. Like that's just no good. No good. Yeah. They aren't living your lifestyle. They don't. It's just like when people say, hey, should single people be hanging out with married people? For the most part, no, they shouldn't. And it's same type of thing.
A friend is someone your wife can have over the house when you're not there. That's only women. And if it's a transgender woman, do you want that transgender woman around your children? Because I got children in the house here. I don't want that person in their funny way, around my kids.
Yeah.
Guys, goofy questions. Come on, guys. Amir, man, love for the sake of Allah, but you got to come on, bro. Can a 5'8" be alpha? Come on, man. Alpha is a state of being. It's like actions, whatever else. If you want to even believe in that dichotomy, then yes. A 4 foot tall man could be alpha.
Hey, Amir. So I did a dime in the joint, and the craziest, most killer ass, like nobody wanted to mess with them at all. They were all 5'8" or under.
Yeah,
they weren't big guys like me. They were all like little guys that everyone was like, "Oh, stay the hell away from him."
Yeah. So little guys got Napoleonic complex, so they really overcompensate, and they can do it for real.
yeah, for real.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. We're coming up on an hour and 40 minutes. We got real lives, so we got to get back to it. This is sorry, guys. I'm like tripping over my tongue here. All right, check out my vetting course, guys. You got anything you want to drop?
Just the outfit. Check out the outfit.
Yeah, the outfit. Check out the outfit, guys.
Blacklisted UK on Instagram.
Check that out. I want to. Am I supposed to come on the show?
Check that out.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Nice.
I'll come on too if you want me, and send me a link privately, like so I can follow, because I will.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. This has been episode 9 of OG Logic. Thanks for tuning in. We are out.